Oh, I get it. Well, Serizawa let him fight action.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most vicious ways Godzilla's ended an enemy. Number 10. Throat Blast. Godzilla vs. Mothra. Ghidorah and the kaiju Mothra were old foes. However, the pair set aside their differences and teamed up in 1992's Godzilla vs. Mothra. Unfortunately, only one of them makes it out of the movie alive. Mothra and Ghidorah had seemingly won the battle against the King of the Monsters and were flying him to the sea. But mid-fight, Godzilla regained consciousness and gave Ghidorah a deadly bite. For good measure, the King of Monsters hit the kaiju with a point-blank blast of atomic breath. We actually see the kaiju's lights go out before Ghidorah's body and Godzilla are dropped into the sea. If Ghidorah had followed horror movie rules and checked that the king was dead, it might have avoided a horrible death. Number 9. Decimating a toxic foe. Godzilla vs. Ghidorah. The smog monster known as Ghidorah put up a surprisingly tough fight in the 70s. This kaiju could emit poisonous toxins from each of its disgusting forms. Initially, Godzilla found it difficult to withstand this toxic warfare, but he finally finds a way to defeat Ghidorah at the film's climax. We almost feel bad for the smog monster, as Godzilla utilizes two giant electrodes from the JSDF to dehydrate and pull apart Ghidorah's body. To make matters more graphic, we get a visual of Big G actually reaching inside of Ghidorah to pull out whatever was inside of it. In the end, barely anything remained of this toxic enemy. Hey Godzilla, we think you got him. Number 8. Bye Bye Bug. Godzilla vs. Megaguirus.
究極の戦闘隊メガギラスは周りの敵を倒しながらテリトリーを広げていく。
The Queen of the Meganula didn't live to regret its encounter with Godzilla. This isn't to say that this frightening amalgamation of a dragonfly and a wasp didn't prove her mettle in combat. Far from it, in fact. Since Megaguirus had complex fighting patterns and nimble speed, she was able to easily dodge Godzilla's attacks for the lion's share of their encounter. However, the G-Man tires of her antics and finds a way to strike back. After Godzilla crushes his enemy's powerful tail stinger, he delivers a devastating atomic blast that sets Megaguirus aflame. The ruthless king then delivers a second blast to make sure his enemy had no chance of recovery. Godzilla is one savage exterminator.
消えたよ。俺たちの勝ちだ。
Number 7. Annihilating Orga. Godzilla 2000. Orga was a creature that came from Godzilla's DNA. The enemy could even heal from injuries like the original king. During the final battle, Orga attempted to gain more power by trying to absorb Godzilla with its mouth, but that plan didn't end well. Initially, it looked like Godzilla had charged recklessly into his enemy's mouth. However, the King of the Monsters was actually getting into a crucial position. Once inside of Orga's mouth, Godzilla charged up a huge atomic attack. When the king lets loose, his enemy gets absolutely ripped apart by the blast. We guess even Orga couldn't absorb such a ferocious attack. Number 6. Neck bites. Godzilla raids again. Although the G-Man was the only monster in his first film, he had to share the screen with the mighty Anguirus in the direct sequel, and the pair didn't exactly get along. Godzilla Raids Again is notable for framing the conflict between Godzilla and Anguirus as fierce and animalistic. There's little in regards to the more light-hearted monster mashes that would define future Showa films. Instead, Godzilla takes Anguirus down with a vicious neck bite, the sort of behavior you might see in the wild from a lion. The Big G even set its enemy on fire once it was down for the count. The finisher underlined how much of a threat Godzilla could be if it was in a bad mood. Number 5. Zilla gets punked. Godzilla Final Wars. The 1998 iteration of Godzilla that rampaged through New York in director Roland Emmerich's film was an embarrassment to both Hollywood and Toho.
You sure you didn't know about this?
No, no one told me anything about this.
Why do I even keep you around?
That's why fans didn't expect it to appear in 2004's Godzilla Final Wars. But viewers were gobsmacked when a creature known as Zilla that looked like the failed American experiment showed up in the film. During the movie, the creature is summoned by the Exilians to fight Godzilla. We use the word fight, but it's really not much of a contest. Zilla gets in zero offense before Godzilla thwacks him into Australia's Sydney Opera House and blasts him so hard that the people in New York felt it. Maybe Zilla should have stayed away from fights and stuck to eating tuna.
Alright, let's pile it on! Let's get out of here! That's a lot of fish.
Number 4. Baragon gets beaten and burned. Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters all-out attack. Baragon is one of those Toho creations with a strong fan following, thanks largely to the kaiju's adorable design. Knowing that makes his demise in a 2001 monster flick feel more harrowing and depressing to watch. The King of the Monsters was presented as a dastardly villain that has the strength to destroy multiple kaiju during the story, but Baragon arguably got the worst of it. The camera lingers on the diminutive kaiju's struggle to fend off Godzilla's attacks. Just when Baragon is climbing up and away, it's hit by an atomic blast. Once downed, Godzilla fires another blast to burn the monster alive. We love Baragon, but he was simply no match for this cold-hearted version of the King of the Monsters. Number 3. Nuking Ghidorah out of existence. Godzilla King of the Monsters. The introduction of King Ghidorah into the Monsterverse was handled with reverence and respect. The new Titan was a formidable threat to Godzilla's reign as the King of the Monsters. That said, a monster of Ghidorah's stature necessitates a death scene worthy of royalty. Thankfully, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, delivered the goods.
Is it just me, or has he been working out?
You kidding me? Serizawa's got that lizard juiced.
First, Ghidorah gets his wings fried by one of Nuclear Godzilla's blasts. Monster Zero soon loses 2 of its 3 heads to the G-Man's atomic wrath. Finally, Godzilla stomps on a prone Ghidorah while triggering yet another explosion. When the dust clears, Godzilla emerges with the king's 3rd head in his mouth. Godzilla cements his victory by lighting Ghidorah's last head up like a victory cigar. Number 2. Decapitation. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla.
ゴジラめメカゴジラがお前と同じ性能だと思ったら大間違いだぞ。
1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla may have debuted during the kid-friendly Showa era, but it's actually featured a surprising amount of bloody violence. For starters, there's the absolute beating that Mechagodzilla gives both King Caesar and Godzilla. The robot's onslaught leaves the king of the monsters bloody, battered, and out for revenge. So when Godzilla gets a shot to end his mechanized opponent, he executes a fatality worthy of the Mortal Kombat franchise. The king mercilessly spins Mechagodzilla's head around before cleanly punching the robot's head off. We were reminded of Godzilla's appetite for decapitation again in 2004's Godzilla Final Wars.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Bambi gets bashed. Bambi meets Godzilla. This epic meeting of icons could tragically only end one way. As brutal as it is, this savage death is not our true top pick. Number 1. An atomic kiss of death, Godzilla.
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around. Let them fight.
During the first MonsterVerse film, the king of the monsters established himself as a pretty tough kaiju. But it turned out he was hiding a serious ace up its sleeve the entire time. Godzilla finally got to break out his best move when facing off against two monsters known as Mutos. First, the male Muto gets ventilated by a building after a vicious tail whipping by Godzilla. It's the female titan that gets the worst of it, however. Godzilla holds his enemy down before using its atomic breath to deliver a kiss of death. The scene reminded us of what the king did to Biollante in a previous film, but the vicious detail shown in the 2014 kill made Godzilla look more savage. Which Godzilla kill impressed you the most? Let us know in those comments below.
I've never seen anything like it. It violates everything we know about the natural order.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.